Bonjour tout le monde, bonjour à tous. I'm your host, Alistair. I want you to look at this text message communication that I had with the tenant for the property in question. And long story short, I fired my electrician. But it's in the details. Let's talk about it. I've mentioned to you that I have a pretty robust system that allows me to oversee my operation behind the scene. And that system it's pretty intricate, but it's whenever the tenant needs something, whenever there's a maintenance ticket that needs to be addressed, they do so through a maintenance ticket that is done via email. It can be done through text and whatnot, but preferably via email. And through that chain system, it gets directed to the appropriate contractor. Everything is done with being blind copied to me. So I see what is going on and how the responses are happening too. So I was aware of the date and time the appointment was scheduled. And the way the system is made, at least designed, the way I designed it is that it is scheduled at the convenience of the tenant, because I kind of want the tenant to be there. Even though it's not a requirement, that's how I prefer. When I was looking at the email communication between the tenant and the electrician, I was very happy that the scheduled appointment was the same day of the property inspection. So in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, what a great service. Like, wow, look at that. I have a problem. I talk about the problem. It gets addressed immediately. That's amazing. I love my landlord. Super stoked, super happy. So went through the day, but I did notice something that was a little odd, because in that system of mine, there is a thing called closing the ticket, or like a report or something going on. But I didn't get that. So I was like, okay, what's going on? And I know he didn't sleep there. He must have gone home. But you know what? I'm a good boss, right? So I'm like, maybe he had a long day. Maybe something came up. It's the weekend-ish, you know? Sure, he'll write the report at the end of the day or at the end of the weekend, right? Because I was expecting him to get a hold of me, because essentially I have to pay him, right? And I just kept an eyeball on my phone, and I still never got the report. And then again, I get a text from the tenant being like, I don't know if he got in touch with you, but he never showed up. I said, wow, interesting. But if you notice something also in the text is that he not only did he ever show up the first time, they rescheduled. And they reschedule using the inappropriate pathways, because they reschedule in a way where I could not be made aware. There's a process. I have a process, right? He didn't use the process. You could have easily rescheduled. So let's just, for convenience, if the tenant was like, okay, you know what? Sorry, I have to cancel, but I can't go through to the email chain to cancel. I can't make it. That's fine. The contractor has to make a note of it and let me know, because I got to keep track of everything. That's just one of the agreements that we have. You have to let me know. He didn't let me know. So he just messed up my process. But that's not a reason to fire someone, right? Because people are human. They make mistakes. They have issues. You know, it's not a reason. I'll tell you why the reason I had to eventually pull the plug and fire him. And the reason is that not only did he not show the first time, not only did he not show the second time, the rescheduled time, but the second time that was rescheduled, the tenant needed to be somewhere important. I'm not going to divulge to you where for the privacy, but not like medically important, just entertainment-wise important. And mind you, it doesn't matter, because that's the tenant's life, right? So they're allowed to have their entertainment, and they're allowed to deem what's important or not. But they couldn't make to their important entertainment appointment on the weekend, because he was waiting for the electrician to show up, which he never showed. That is absolutely not okay, right? And no, it was an easy. It was easy solution at that point. Then I was like, you're disrespecting me, you're disrespecting my business, you're disrespecting my tenant, and my tenant is my business. I'm in the business of housing humans, so don't disrespect my business, and you are absolutely fired. I did it in a very cordial way. I gave a call. He didn't pick up the first time. No problem. I left a voicemail. Please, you're not going to respect me enough? No, I left a voicemail. I said very politely, it came to my attention that, a few things you rescheduled and you had no shows. And in the middle of the no show, the tenant ended up missing a very important appointment for them. It's nothing about you, it's just maybe this process is just too complicated for us to really work together. I appreciate your work, but I'm going to go with a different direction and a different electrician and a different company. Thank you. And I hung up the phone and I disconnected him from all the connections in my micro situation, my processes. Doesn't have access to that anymore. And then I called the tenant and I apologized to the tenant and I let them know if he contacts you again, he's not working for me. So he's not supposed to contact you again, right? Because he did try to contact him again. He did. He tried to schedule an appointment again, and they replied to him like, sorry, the landlord said you don't work for him anymore. That's right. So I had to let him go. So then what happened now? So what happens now? Because the issue is still there. I still need to have an electrician look into the issue of the problem with the electricity in the house. Well, with the outlets in the house. So easy. I found a solution, of course. Pretty much what I did is I went on the Google, and I looked up licensed electricians near the area of my property, and I simply called the company in question. And so I looked at the company's website. I went and checked on their reviews. I wanted to see a little bit how they did their processing. So I called the company number and I asked about like, okay, so I'm a landlord. I have a small operations. Is it like, do you create an account? Is there a difference between commercial pricing and individual pricing, like family pricing? Trying to get a feel of what I'm getting into. And the irony is I do that a lot because sometimes when the company knows that you are commercial, they give you the commercial rate. And of course, we're all looking to save money, right? So I don't want a commercial rate. Give me the individual rate. That's what I want. But I wonder if they're doing that because they didn't have that on the website. And long story short, they do have a commercial rate, but it didn't apply to me because I have single family homes. I don't have an apartment building. If I had an apartment building, it would have been a commercial rate, but I have single family homes. So I fell under the individual rate. I said, no problem. So here's how I do my operations. I don't know if I'm talking to the right person, but what I would like to do is I'm looking for a permanent contractor that deals with, permanent electrician. And so I'm willing to give you the work for all my properties, right? So I would like it if you can create an account, my whole system. And they were great at accommodating that. And pretty much the way it worked is that I gave the addresses of my properties. And whenever the tenant calls or emails, they put the address of the property, and through the address, they forward everything to me into BCC. And so they were able to accommodate my requirement of like, I want to be aware at all times within the systems, which is great. And frankly, because I'm the one paying it, right? So they got a new client. It's not like they got a new client. My requirement is I just want to be made aware of stuff. Easy. She made it work. It was a woman. She made it work into what I wanted, and it was seamless. And the appointment is scheduled, and it's going to be in the morning, and then we'll see how that goes. And I said to her, the professionalism is very important because I want the experience of my tenant to be stellar. I want them to feel like the rent I'm charging them is justified. And so, if all goes smoothly, if all goes well, then we can make this as a non-contractual partnership because I want to be able to exit whenever I want. And she laughed and we giggled a little bit and we said, no problem. And then we hung up the phone and then that was that, right? But really, as a final thought, is it's the importance of having a pulse on your business. It's one of the things that if you don't, you need to be aware of every single thing. And because it's in the details really that makes you different. It's the small stuff that makes you different. And that's why I say nobody landlords single family homes like I do. You get into one of my single family homes, it feels like you are into a luxury building with accommodation and amenities. It's custom. It's an experience to be a tenant of mine, and of course, it's not cheap. Of course, something that doesn't. That's not free, right? But it's justified. Do you understand what I'm saying? So always have a pulse into your business, because nobody is going to take care of your business as well as you, and nobody's going to care as much for your business as well as you. So don't relax. Welcome to entrepreneurship. It's a big ball of headache and nothing and no relaxation. That's what you wanted. That's what you got. That's the game. Anyway, thanks. Enough of my rant. Like, subscribe. See you next time. I'm your host, Alistair.